Well, good morning, everybody. What a pleasure it is to be back. It's been a long road since October when we last went racing at the circuit Barcelona de Catalunya to crown a GT Cup Open champion. We are now back here in May and return here to Portimao, round one of the series, and very, I would say standard temperatures, certainly no overly hot weather, but certainly no damp conditions to say the least. And we are now underway for the very first qualifying session of the championship. And a new look almost to this series, already an advanced grid coming into round one with 17 cars set to take place around this Portuguese circuit. Of course, here at Portimao, broke ground back in February of 2008, opening up in October of 2008, created by the grand architect, that is Ricardo Pina. And here around this circuit, we're about to see hear the revs, the engines of the many Porsches. And not only that, Ferrari that now join the grid here in the GT Cup Open. What a pleasure it is to have them here. 4 cars of Ferrari Challengers coming to race here, and we're very excited to see them come home to roost here in this fantastic championship. David Perel joining it, as well as Stephen Earle, not to mention Michael Boschez, as well as Alexandra Boschez as well. They're, of course, representing the Kessel Racing Ferrari team. As well, the other side of it, Myrtle Motorsport also fielding 2 Ferraris. Ivan Velasco joining Javier Segura, as well as Fernando Navarrete and Stefano Bozzoni. They're going to be lining up here today in amongst the Porsches and 1 solitary Aston Martin as well. For those of you new to the series, my name is, of course, George Morgan. I'm your commentator for the championship. Joining me for the very first time alongside me, it's the one, the only, it's Chris Stevens. Chris, how you doing?
Thanks, George. Yeah, I'm doing fantastic and really looking forward to sinking my teeth into all of the GT action we have coming up today, starting, of course, with the GT Cup Open, a field of these Porsche 992 Cup cars, which are a fierce bit of kit, to say the least. And of course, we do still have some of the older generation 991.2 cars in this field as well, although I believe many of them hoping to upgrade to the 992 as we're seeing them on track now later in the season.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're just seeing there Evgeny Leonov making his way around the circuit, of course, and obviously Nicholas van Dierendonck, who's returning to the series again this year, obviously off the back of a competitive season last year, was fighting it out certainly for points and very much in contention as well. Very class act on his day, no doubt, looking to try and unlock the promises of Portimao, to say the least. We've also got the Volcanic motorsport team. Of course, we saw that livery making its way around. They'll be looking for an eruption when they make their way around this track later on this afternoon as well.
How long have you had that one written down, George?
I've had all these prepped. For many of you who know me already, I love my puns, and you know, it's great to introduce them here for your entertainment here for the GT Cup Open. But yes, the sun's shining now across this circuit, and qualifying fully fledged and underway. 21.5 minutes to go here at Portimao. Of course, the home of the hellacious Algarve Grand Prix, and even in its infancy, Portimao already considered one of the great circuits on the calendar for many a motorsport alike, as we're now seeing the cars that make their way down through towards the very long straight in towards turn 1, as Leonov now currently second fastest, already going faster in the second sector as well, as he looks to set his first laps.
Yeah, we have the first lap time on the board from Stephen Earle. It is a 1:51.594, immediately usurped by that number 16 of Evgeny Leonov. So the times are going to start coming in pretty thick and fast, I would say, George.
I would say so, and it won't be long before we see more and more top the standings. Obviously, Leonov now at the top end, setting a purple Sector 2 and Sector 3 as well, 148.914, with Florentin Cescu coming back as well, of course, alongside Camel Perry in this season, and they had a really exciting season last year as well, fresh off the back of a tricky race at Monza where the car would actually end up in a few pieces, but recovering nonetheless. Stephen Earle now going second fastest. Stephen Earle, of course, Dr. Stephen Earle, for those who don't know, he's alongside David Perel this season, moves across from the International GT Open where he competed with Kessel Racing, and he'll be looking to try and advance his cause in the Ferrari, one of the Ferraris, the new Ferraris that we're seeing in the GT Cup Open, certainly new to the GT Cup Open this season. It's great to have them here, as well as Boschez goes second fastest with a purple Sector 3 and a 149.381. No one touching Evgeny Leonov up at the top end. 148.914 to beat, Chris. there's still a long way to go.
Absolutely. Florian Tedescu here that we're seeing in the number 21 RO1 Racing Porsche. That was the older generation that we were talking about earlier, but here is our provisional pole sitter, running a tad wide there on the exit of 13. So I wonder if that's going to invalidate this lap time.
Possibility. Leonov now purple, currently in the first two sectors, looking faster nonetheless. 33.9 in the first sector, 33.8 in the middle. He's certainly going to top 148 if he can go purple in this final sector too, in the volcano eruptions. Certainly on the promise here for Leonov, and across the line to 47.886. A super lap indeed. 1.5 improvement on where he was before.
And this is a very promising start to a team that is making its GT racing debut. Of course, they're very well known for their touring car adventures, TCR Europe champions in 2021, and class titles in the Spanish Championship, as well, the Spanish Endurance Championship, I should say, including with Leonov himself. But yeah, that's a great start to a GT campaign with a car that they're not going to be all that familiar with compared to some of the other teams on the grid. And here is one of the Ferrari 488 Challenge cars that we're so excited to see, 4 of them coming in from Kessel and Myrtle Motorsport as well. This is the number 69 car of Michael Boschet, who is going quite well, so currently 7/10 away from the provisional pole time, but that could well put him up on the front row at this rate.
Yeah, Leonov already improving in the first sector as well, so he's got more in the locker in this early stage. The track temperature will heat up, as we now see Boschet go across the line, and he holds on to second fastest. Paulo Pinheiro, though, also currently setting the fastest purple first sector, but obviously losing a little bit in the second, but currently third fastest on our screens. He's going to be coming around the third sector very, very shortly. As now we see more and more cars make their way through the final sector now. This, of course, being Pinheiro making his way through. Leonov currently purple in the second as well. He's going faster and faster again. Is anyone going to stop this man?
Well, I've been keeping my eye on the little race control notifications that we get here in the commentary box. No sign yet of a deletion of the lap time for that little wide moment that we saw. But now it's Paulo Pinheiro who goes fastest by 1/10 of a second. Now, what's Leonov got in the pocket? He's about to come across the line now and takes back provisional pole position by a good 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, a whole 1,000th away from a 147 flat. You'd be pleased with that, Leonov. And going in the right direction as well. We'll certainly look to introduce this later on in the race. Representing himself, a little shaky heading through turn 1, 2, and 3, but nonetheless is not deterred. His performance so far has been brilliant, to say the least. I mean, if you're at the top of the standings, obviously, certainly the timing sheets gives you a great chance heading through to the race later on this afternoon. And we have Davide Scanaccio currently showing improvements in the first sector, also the second as well, but not enough to trouble Leonov at this moment in time. Van der Velde on his return, also going 6th fastest as well. And he'll be pleased with that too, as now we see Scanaccio on your screens, making his way through this next left.
And this is the man who has partnered up with a bit of a GT legend in the number 78 ZRS Motorsport 992 Cup car, Le Mans class winner and American Le Mans Series and FIA GT racer Fabio Babini, who has, well, you name it, he's raced it.
Yeah, he has. He's got loads of experience. Finished 6th overall for Seacar Motorsport, and class winner, as you allude to, in the 24 Hours of Le Mans back in 2001 as well. Scanaccio going 3rd fastest here. Still 1.3 though off the lead lap set by Leonov. A little bit of work to do, but nonetheless in the mix. But Leonov showing that he's got all the promise. Paulo Pinheiro, though, don't write him off. Currently sat 2nd. And within 0.8 of a second as well. I can tell you this, though, Leonov fastest in the first sector again. Lost a little bit of time, though, in the middle sector. So, but he could still yet hook it together if he finds something else. But losing 2 seconds, I would say, off the pace of where he was, is certainly not going to help him in that middle sector. Comes across the line. Indeed, it is a slow lap as he makes his way across the line. Glauco Solieri also returning. We've got plenty of names here. Fabio Fabiani as well. Solieri going 10th fastest so far. So now he makes his way down this next long straight very shortly, just cutting through this next right. It's like a roller coaster here at the Algarve. As he'll now make his way up towards the line in the Silver Bullet Porsche, as it now makes its way up towards the line. What's he going to land on the board? It's a 140, nice and improvement, 7th fastest, and goes ahead of Dr. Stephen Earle as well. Fabiani also making his way around the circuit. He's also showing improvement, so he just goes to show, Chris, the track heating up and is helping the cars get more delta out of their time.
Absolutely. Track temp has sort of slowly been creeping up over the last couple of hours or so. It's currently sat at roughly 22 degrees, which I'm sure is going to skyrocket later in the day. But here is Fabio Fabiani, the former motorcycle racer, coming across the line. Started racing cars in 2005, and he has been very much a familiar face on the touring car scene.
Van Dierendonk currently improving as well. Down in 14th place, knows that he can find a little more as well. Of course, we weren't here. We were at Estoril last season. Obviously, a different track to Portimao. It's great to be here in this wonderful occasion. Obviously, as we now see the cars make their way up towards the line, that is, of course, the Ferrari Challenge as well. The treble one belonging to that of David Perel and Stephen Earle. Stephen Earle making his way down towards turn one. Leonov still on top, though. Pinheiro in second. Still Bochez in third. No improvements currently showing up at the sharp end, but a purple sector 3 for Eugenio Pisani puts him in second. So that's another Pro-Am in the top 3. Paolo Pinheiro now down to third place. So it's Leonov and Pisani up at the top and within, well, very nearly within 0.2 of a second.
Now, very wide there on the exit of turn 4 was the number 45 Porsche of Pinheiro. So even if he does improve on this lap, it won't be counted. A little wide on the exit of the hairpin as well. So I think he'll even abandon this run, especially because he is catching up to the 488 challenge ahead of him.
Yeah, track limits can be very helter-skelter, certainly here at Portimao, certainly given that the roller coaster circuit in its nature. Obviously, drivers do like to test the limits. Naturally, if you want to go fast, you have to absorb as much of the track as you can. So now we're certainly seeing him make his way through this next straight. You'll soon dip down once again, and then straight up the hill still. It's like a slalom heading through this next leg.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, what a circuit. It's very rare these days, I think, that you get these huge roller coaster undulations in modern circuits, or at least in a natural sense anyway, but Portimao absolutely has them hand over fist. And look at Eugenio Pisani here. He's up on the provisional pole time set by Leonov. No one else has been able to get anywhere near him so far in this session, but this is the closest challenge we've seen yet from the older generation of Porsche, no less. So certainly still a rapid amount of speed in that number 44 car. Comes around the final corner now as it drive towards the line, keep it inside the track limits. And how does it go? It goes fastest by 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, super lap there from Pisani. Smashed it there indeed, very nearly 0.7 on the board, and now he's put the task on Leonov to go faster than him again. I can tell you this, Leonov's certainly not going to go faster on this lap, but Pisani setting the pace here with 11 minutes and 40 still to go here at Portimao. Qualifying one, you wouldn't think it. These drivers have been sending it around this track like they've been doing it all weekend. Well, they have been doing it all weekend, of course. They have had free practice 1 and free practice 2. Free practice 1, incidentally, Stephen Earle and David Perel went fastest with a 1:46.146. And of course, we saw in free practice 2, Davide Scanaccio and Fabio Babini, who would go fastest in that session too.
Now, we saw just a glimpse there of Gustavo Conde in the GT4 Q1 car. Now, that's the Brazilian pairing that have come over. They've done very well in their respective GT4 Endurance Championships in Brazil, and now having their hand at racing in Europe. And that car is currently fastest of the trophy GT4 cars.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. 2 trophy cars out on track this weekend, and they'll be looking to obviously highlight themselves. Of course, the Q1 belongs to Gustavo Conde and Castillo Chamon, as well as we got Jay and Faisal Karim. Now, you might recognize the name Faisal Karim because in recent seasons we, of course, had his father Jahid racing here in the past, and now he's representing this time his son, Jay and Faisal Karim, alongside Julian Darris in the Street Art Aston Martin. So great to see them back as well in the Vantage. Always a pleasure to see that car around this track, and very artistic. Street art by name, street art by nature.
Yeah, they've got a new design for this one. Hopefully we'll catch a glimpse of it in the session a little bit later, but it's their sort of family driver coach in the car at the moment, Julian Darris in the 007 car.
Navarrete as well making his way around the track. We've also got Gianluca Di Lorenzi, who we're currently seeing on screen as well. Navarrete, I can tell you, fastest of all so far, currently going purple in that middle sector. Lorenzi who's now looking to try and light things up himself. Up, he currently sat P8 as things stand. The top 5 currently sat in the pit lane now, as we now see Gianluca Di Lorenzi make his way through towards line. Second fastest now. More and more times up at the top end, and the AM representative here now splitting the 2 Pro-Ams. Then, of course, being Pisani and Leonov. Leonov now reduced to P3. I tell you what, Navarrete might have something to say about it, though. He is getting closer and closer, and here he is now in the other Ferrari challenge. Black as the night as he makes his way down the straight. Very shortly, he will cross the line. He was 9 thousandths up on the best time. Second fastest he goes as well. So a Ferrari representing in the top 3, in amongst that of the Porsches as well. But a great place to be for him as we now pan across here. He's got Eugenio Pisani, who's currently sat on top with 9 minutes to go. No doubt content, but opening the door just to allow a bit of cool air in. No doubt we could be seeing him back out there on another run. But an impressive lap by the Ferrari of Fernando Navarrete, going second fastest and within 4/10 of the lead.
Looks to be emitting a little something out of the back, though. I don't know if that was just scraping against the ground. It certainly looked like something was sort of spilling out of the back. Yeah, is it leaking fluid?
Looks like a leak to me. You can see it spitting just under the car. The elevation, you look at the actual ride height and just look underneath. You did see it from the rear of your screens now, folks. Now, I do wonder whether he's going to bring that car straight back in. But that certainly does look like a cause for concern. Well spotted, Chris.
He certainly should, and should try and stay off the racing line. But judging by the way he's driving at the moment, it's not stopping him slowing down, is it?
It's reducing the weight, Chris. It's reducing the weight.
My goodness.
We're now within 4. Look at that. He's within a second. He's gone nearly a second faster. Navarrete now heading through towards this next left. He has, of course, got a very, very tight left-hander to take. 90 degrees near enough as they make their way through sector 3. This could be huge here for Navarrete, and if he can get a tow as well, he could be getting a hole punched in the air for him as they now make their way through turns 14 and 15. The Galp corner comes up next, and he has gone wide. Is it going to be a deletion? We'll soon find out. Of course, he would hate to have this taken away from him. He's showing some intense pace here as they now head down the straight. He's following the line. He's going quick. You just see a shake of the rear wing as he crosses the line. P1 for Navarrete with a 1:45.564, blowing away the times, of course, that we saw in practice, not to mention those at the top end now. Pisani now down to second.
Wow, what a story it would be if on Ferrari's first appearance in the GT Cup Open they can take pole position away from the Porsches that have dominated the field over the last few years in terms of grid numbers. And that car's still spitting a little something out of the back of it, but it's not cost him any speed whatsoever.
No, not at all. It's incredible, really. And now he's advanced his charge by nearly 7.5 tenths of a second. So I'll tell you what, that's sending a message out to the rest of the grid. Come and get me. 7.5 tenths to Pisani down in second. But it's an AM on top. Tremendous chance here for a big result here for Navarrete.
And Evgeny Leonov, who we watched in the early stages of the session as somebody who was a little untouchable in terms of the lap time, is now 1.4 seconds away from provisional pole. We've got 6.5 minutes remaining in this session.
It's amazing how all perspectives change as now you make your way through the qualifying session. But the speed here on show by the new Ferrari Challenge. Great to see the Ferraris obviously here in GT Cup Open, obviously for the first time in its history, and I think it's fantastic that we have them representing here, and it's great to see Kessel Racing. Obviously we know Kessel Racing Ferrari from GTOpen. They of course do have representatives in this year's championship too, not to mention they were well equipped last year as well, but to see them in GT Cup is a special sight.
Such a famous Swiss team, pretty much synonymous with Ferrari, as is AF Corsa, who of course are running a number of Ferraris in the international GT Open a little bit later on today, and they're of course Le Mans AM winners. They've run cars all the way from the bottom of the racing ladder at Ferrari Challenge all the way to the top of it at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and now this is looking like a very competitive time here from Ivan Velasco.
Yeah, another Ferrari to the top as well. And we were talking silver bullets. This one could be just as potent, making his way around this circuit. Ivan Velasco representing Mertel Motorsport here. Of course, he's paired up with Javier Segura as well. He's going to look to try and join his fellow team companion. That'll be in Navarrete up at the top time. Obviously, currently sat just beyond 2 tenths. Needs a mighty third sector if he wants to certainly unseat Navarrete for the top. But of course, now making his way down this next straight. This one representing the Pro-Am. He's going to come up towards the line now himself. Is he going to push himself higher? He is. P2 for Velasco. So that's a Myrtle 1-2. The Am on top with the Pro-Am in second place.
And only 59 thousandths of a second separating them as well. Look how that car is bucking and weaving as it navigates the bumps across the, not only the asphalt, but also the curbing as well. And just a little step out of the back end there as it goes through 4. Oh, very wide though. Very wide there on the exit of 4.
Well, I can tell you that car 80, the track time has been deleted. That, of course, belonging to that of Ivan Velasco. So automatically having that taken away from him, he's no longer second fastest. It's now been dropped down to 5th. Pisani has now resumed his P2 role. That was due to track limits that we saw around turn 5, I believe, as well. So not ideal at all. He's going to have to try and go again. Very minimal amount of time now, though. 4 minutes now, as you're seeing it, folks. Great to have you all with us here for the GT Cup Open qualifying one here at Portimao. Things are away, and I tell you what, with the Ferraris here, the heat has been turned up just a notch.
So it's Navarrete provisional pole position, 3/4 of a second separating him and Eugenio. Pisani. Is anyone else in a position here to try and make a difference? Well, the number 19 doesn't seem to be in a rush to get back out on track. That is our provisional pole sitter.
I think he's content, Chris.
I think he's quite happy with that,
yeah. Fernando Navarrete, I think, is absolutely thrilled with that performance. Managing to get the top time on the board. Fantastic lap as well, a 1:45.564. The sole car in the 1:45s, and by some margin as well, as we're now seeing the Q1 track racing car make its way around. This, of course, being the partnership of nonetheless Van Der and Donk as well. We've got the, obviously the Volcano car making its way around too. Plenty of excellent cars on display this weekend. Q1 track racing very well representative, or well represented as they always tend to be. They certainly were last season as well. And great to see another plethora of cars making their way into this one. Of course, Laurent van der Velde and Xander Przbiliak as well being part of this grid. So now watching them make their way down this next straight. Van Der and Donk now looking to also try and improve his prospects too, as he now makes his way across the line to no doubt commence another lap. 2.5 minutes still to go. It's clutch time now, Chris. If you want to try and get yourself on top, now is the time.
Certainly is. So Laurent van der Velde in the Q1 track racing Porsche based out of Drijbekenweg in Belgium. Let's see what they've got on this last lap. And again, we're seeing plenty of drivers get the back end of the car out, and again through 4 as well. So wide there, and possibly another track deletion.
Yeah, not ideal for Van der Velde at all, as he now makes his way through the very, very tight corner at Tora Vip. And he'll make the climb then, the ascent, through towards a very tricky right-hander. Now, oversteering is very, very much the danger point around this segment of the circuit. Very easy to dip in. There's a little dip in the circuit that you've got to be wary of. You just see them taking a wide line and then cutting straight back in at the Samson corner.
I think he's backed out of it, George.
I think he has, yeah. It's certainly coming to that point. Obviously, when you try and test the track limits, you are at risk. And here, as we now see the replay, this is Van der Velde as he makes his way. Yeah. Oh, yes, wide.
This is so typical. I mean, anybody who's played this track on the Formula 1 game will know that that turn 4 is so difficult to get it through there without either looping the car around or running completely off the circuit. And it's exactly the same in these very, rear-weighted Porsches.
It is. Absolutely, very easy to get dragged out wide, but nonetheless now as we watch Leonov make his way through this next right, a man who we saw at the top end earlier on, could he pull together a big... No, he's coming straight into the pits. I tell you what, he was showing an improvement on his best time, but nonetheless coming straight into the pit lane, and I think that'll be his day done in terms of qualifying.
But, 4th, provisionally anyway, on what is the team's GT Racing debut, I think they'll be very happy with that.
And this is a good foundation to grow on as well, Chris. Do you know what I mean? When you start in a position such as P4, you're new to the championship, you're new to this style of racing. It's a great opportunity to grow, as now we see, of course, the EST1 car make its way up towards the line as well. Yori Alaira making his way across the line now. P9, he takes that away from Van der Velde, goes higher than him, 2.7. Off the top as well, and Navarrete celebrating. He knows he's taking it. It's P1 for the Ferrari. The Myrtle Motorsport team will be absolutely thrilled. It could have been a 1-2 as well had they not had a time deleted. And that brings qualifying to a conclusion, but we've got cars still out and about on track, including this man, Eugenio Pisani, who is working hard to try and take this P1 away from Navarrete. Circles through this next left. He has indeed got a very tight left to cover as well. He's putting absolutely everything into this. Ivan Velasco also out on track too. They've still got turn 14 and turn 15 still to go. Sagre corner into the gulp as well. Can Pisani open up the throttle, potentially take Navarrete's top time away from him, using all the circuit as he now beckons his way down through the gulp corner. He's got a long straight still to come, as I said, one of the longest straights we'll see this season, heading down now towards the line. Will it be enough? Certainly for Eugenio Pisani. No, stays second fastest. He will not take it away from Navarrete, but I'm just noting that Velasco is still out on track and still in P5. There is the other Ferrari challenge. Of course, we saw him go second fastest earlier on. Can he deliver? Running wide there as well, just trying to use all the track as they make their way down through this next right as well. The Ferrari challenge are going to go 1-2 here for Myrtle Motorsport. Will it be enough for Velasco? Can he join his fellow team member up at the top? Navarrete, Velasco goes third fastest, not enough to unseat Pisani, but a great lap nonetheless, and he'll take that to the bank.
Look at this moment here for Pisani. That's fantastic. Beautiful little slide there, under braking for the hairpin effectively. There's the Myrtle team. They know that they've got the job done. Fantastic stuff. And it's an AM car on pole position.
A superb lap by Fernando Navarrete, and that will set the tone for when, of course, we go racing later on. Of course, Michelin tyres once again on show here still. And they've been a fantastic supplier, of course. Let's have a look at the results. Fernando Navarrete is your fastest man on top, 145.564, the sole 145 of the session. Eugenio Pisani as well for SP Racing, a 146.309. Ivan Velasco in P3. Gianluca Di Lorenzi as well for GDL in fourth. Evgeny Leonov in fifth, who looked like he had all the pace in the world at the very start. And then, of course, further down the order, we have got the likes of Paolo Pinheiro, Davide Scagno actually going faster than him, P6, Mikhail Bosches in 8th, Yori Alaira in 9th, Laurent van der Velde 10th, Fabio Fabiani 11th, with Florentin Sescu in 12th, Nicholas van Dierendonk 13th, Glauco Solieri in 14th, Stephen Earle in 15th, and Julian Darrow 16th, with Gustavo Conde in 17th place.
So there, Aston Martin took the trophy pole position away from the Porsche right at the end there, so we missed that, but yeah, some 3 seconds between them in the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can go across with Fernando Navarrete. He is with Alfredo for an interview.
Attenzione ragazzi.
Fernando Navarrete, first pole position of the season in the GT Cup. We know you speak Spanish. Contento, ¿no?
Muy contento, muy contento. Primera carrera para el equipo es maravilloso. Estoy encantado de correr con un equipo Ferrari. No esperaba la primera carrera hacer la pole. La verdad que para mí es un chute de moral y de ilusión grandísimo. Además, mi compañero también está yendo rapidísimo. Formamos un buen tándem, creo. Además, somos muy amigos y creo que esto es el inicio de una bonita amistad.
Yeah, basically a very big boost ahead of the season. He's very happy to be in a top team like Myrtle and to be so competitive from straight together with his teammate. Suerte para la carrera. Good luck.
Muchísimas gracias. Un beso a todos.
Well, there we have it. A very jubilant Fernando Navarrete taking pole position for our race this afternoon here at Portimao for the very first round of the GT Cup Open. And we'll see if he can continue his form with the great Myrtle Motorsport still when we go racing later on. We'll catch you then. See you soon.